Welcome back. I didn't know if I'd get to debut my new hat. Got this from 47 Canada, so if you're wondering where I'm getting hats from lately, 47 Canada, there's the 47 in the States too. And yeah, here we are. Tonight's hockey, of course, was overshadowed by the news that now the Colorado Avalanche are delaying their games. They're postponed through the 11th. So Vegas comes back onto the ice on Friday, but here's an example. On Saturday, there was supposed to be 9 games. We're down to 5. So, and all of this is on the American side of the border. We'll talk about it tomorrow in a News of the Day video. But I wanted to say this now because I'm not just doing a video just about that, because it's related to the Minnesota situation. So, the NHL trying to get ahead of it. We'll see what happens. All right. In the games that did get played tonight, the Capitals in against the Rangers. And what a difference losing a player makes for the New York Rangers. And I'm not kidding here. Ovi had the early chance. It was reverse retro night for the Rangers, so I'm going to go ahead and say that jersey made the save for Shesterkin. And then Strome scores from Fox and Panarin at 141. The one thing about those Rangers jerseys, the number doesn't have the contrast. The number and name doesn't have the contrast with the back of the jersey the way you might want. I feel kind of bad for the announcers on that one because it is kind of hard to make that one out. Power play then for the Rangers. Great start for New York. They got off to a fantastic start. Shots and hits favored the Rangers. That's noteworthy because I don't track hits anymore, and I used to, because hits seem to always favor the team that didn't have the puck. In this case, the hits favored the team that had the puck. It's unusual. Power play then for the Caps. Not the Craps, the Caps. And then Scrappy is underneath that. So that's why I said that. So it's okay. Scrappy period for both teams. These teams amping up the dislike for one another pretty darn early as expected. Second period, power play for the Rangers. It doesn't score, but just before the halfway mark of that second period, Bitetto scores from Kevin Rooney at 9:15. So 2-0 for the Rangers. Caps get a power play, but Shesterkin was becoming quite the story in this. Really, really solid game for him. And he said after he's kind of in his zone and he's feeling really good right now, and he should be. The Rangers get a power play. Dylan actually stopped a chance for Zibanejad in there. So Zibanejad is getting chances. He doesn't get on the board tonight with a goal, but he's getting chances. There's a late Caps power play. It doesn't score. However, Hagelin gets a goal from Hathaway and Scarbosa at 18:57. And then with 9 seconds left in the period, the Capitals get a power play. So we go to the third period. That power play for the Capitals, unable to succeed. Shesterkin then denied panic. Capitals were pressing at the 7-minute mark. The puck goes the other way. Guess what happens? Strome makes it a 3-1 lead from Panarin and Kakko at 7:55. That's Strome's second of the game, Panarin's second assist, and Kakko's on the board. Then Ovechkin scores from Backstrom at 11:01. So if you're following the goal hunt, he is now chasing Phil Esposito. And he's not too far behind Esposito. He should be able to catch him, I'll say, by the end of next month, barring any further delays on the schedule. 4-on-4 play then. And here's the weird part. So they called a trip and a dive, but it was a knee-on-knee hit. So I'm not too sure how the Rangers don't come out of that with a power play. I think it was Kakko that was the one that was in on that. They called embellishment. It's a knee-on-knee hit. I don't know how you embellish that. But anyways, it didn't really end up mattering a whole lot. The Capitals pull the goaltender. Buchnevich adds the empty netter from Zibanejad and Panarin at 19:33. The Rangers won 4-2. Noteworthy, as they went into the tunnel, Shesterkin leaves the ice. Panarin's right behind him. And just as he stepped off the ice, he turns around like he's ready to start a fight with Panarin. And that tells you, and the Rangers had a good laugh about it, that tells you where the Rangers' heads are at right now. And that they may very well have noticed some tweets from what may or may not be a burner account where it was, well, the Rangers are done. The Rangers are going to lose. I hope they lose. And the Rangers may very well be following those and going, hey, you see this? Yeah, all right, let's go out there and kick some ass. So far, they're 2-0. Since the whole incident went down, they're back to 4-4-2. The Capitals dropped to 6-2-3. And, yeah, this was a great game for the Rangers. They outshot the Caps in the first 15-8. The shots were in favor of the Capitals the rest of the way. 14-8 in the second, 11-8 in the third. Final shots, 33-31 for Washington. Washington 0-4 on the power play. The Rangers 0-3. Vanacek saves 27 out of 30. And Shesterkin, 31 saves on 33 shots. No soft goals allowed tonight. So there you go. Rangers are becoming a feel-good story, and I'm here for it. Nashville. I don't understand what happened here. And this is for, Florida is one of those teams that you kind of expect this from, and yet when it happens, it's still shocking. Huberdeau scores at 128, unassisted. Great start for Huberdeau. He had a good game. Shots were 4-2 Panthers 5 minutes in. The Predators get a power play. They do score on it. So the Predators' power play has had some moments this year. Forsberg from Ellis and Johansson at 9 minutes and 2 seconds. But then it's a minute later. Nudavara scores from Hornqvist. And it's 2-1 in favor of the Florida Panthers. The Preds tried to answer, and they would a little over 5 minutes later. It's Järnkrok from Forsberg at 15:48. So every time Florida got a lead, Nashville came back. Florida gets a lead, Nashville comes back. This was the theme. Power play then for the Predators. The Panthers did kill that one off, but there were a lot of good chances for the Predators during that power play. With 21.5 seconds left, the Panthers get a power play, so they start the second with that one. And it's Ekblad scoring from Barkov at 54 seconds, makes it 3-2. Predators get a power play. They don't score on that one. However, Duchesne scores his first of the season from Forsberg at 6:50, so he finally gets himself going. But then it's a power play for Florida, and what do? They score on it. It's Barkov scoring on that power play from Huberdeau and Yandel at 8 minutes and 1 second. So this game was just back and forth, back and forth. The interesting thing, too, is a lot of games had early goals tonight. And so I was trying to keep up because all these games were basically on at the same time. All 8 of them were basically same time. There was an hour in between the first 5 and the second 3. I was doing my best to keep up. So we get back-to-back Panthers power plays. Try saying that 5 times really fast. And then Huberdeau would score from Hornqvist at 15:54. So Hornqvist has had an amazing run so far for Florida. I am still really surprised that Pittsburgh let him go. He has been very prominent for the Florida Panthers. He's been one of their best forwards. And honestly, going from Dadonov to Hornqvist appears to be an upgrade. I understand Hornqvist is older and, he's going to fall off, and he may, but right now it's not looking like it. So they go to the third period and they have a 2-goal lead, right? So we get a scrum at the Preds net after a save. The shots were 9-7 for the Predators with 7.5 minutes left. Pekka Rinne's in now. Saros has been pulled. They pull the goalie with 3 minutes left. And it's like, all right, well, I'll keep an eye on this because they're not going to. They do. They score 6 on 5. It's Yossi from Ekholm and Forsberg at 17:54. And here's where the mistake happens. They challenged for a high stick before the puck goes in the net. To me, it was inconclusive. Right off the bat, I was like, it has to be conclusive to overrule the ruling on the ice, which was a clean goal. So not only does it count, but now you're killing a penalty if you're Florida. So that gives the Predators a power play, and then they make it a 6-on-4. And with the 6-on-4, it's Duchesne scoring to tie it at 19:03. My point being, if they don't challenge that and it doesn't become a power play, they probably escape with the win. So the mistake was the challenge. But we're going to overtime. Back and forth through the overtime. Through the first 3:47, there was only one shot. And then it happened. Nashville appeared to have too many men on the ice. The Florida Panthers wanted the call. They don't get it. Not only did they not get it, but Forsberg is in all alone, and he scores at the 4-minute mark. Nashville with a 6-5 win, which had to leave a bitter taste in the mouth of the Florida Panthers. They dropped to 5-0-2, and for Nashville, a very important win to get back to a 5-5 record. I don't know what this game tells me about Florida, but I do know that they have to play better than this. They have to be better at closing out games. So I remember last year you couldn't turn a Florida game off in the third period. Apparently this year that's the case as well. Shots were 14 apiece in the first, 10 apiece in the second, 16-11 Nashville in the third, 1 apiece in the overtime. So Nashville outshoots them 41-36 overall. Both power plays went 2 for 4. Saros saved 19 out of 24. He leaves. Rinne saved all 12 shots he faced. So there you go. And Bobrovsky, 35 saves on 41 shots. I'm not going to say that Bobrovsky allowed soft ones, but I'm going to say this. You need that big save from a goaltender making $10 million. They didn't get it tonight. So that's the issue that's facing Florida, and it's the issue that they've had the whole way through. Drieger is outplaying Bobrovsky yet again. All right, next up. Dallas. Dallas was due for a down game because this is what happens. Dallas has like an amazing game, and then they have a down game. And Columbus desperately needed the victory. And I think we're starting to see that already, where teams that desperately need victories are playing a little bit tougher. Not in every case. We'll get to the case where that team isn't. But tonight, Columbus was pretty darn good. They got the early shots and they scored. Bjorkstrand from Grigorenko and Jones at 2:23. So Mikhail Grigorenko is starting to put up points. And Bjorkstrand, amazing start for him. Power play for Columbus then. They don't score on it. Then Pesek had a good chance that was denied by Korpisalo. And then Roslovic scores his first goal as a Columbus Blue Jacket from Robinson and Werenski at 16:59. So after one period, it's 2-0 in favor of Columbus. So if you're wondering when I put the records on the board, it was kind of early in some of these games. This one, kind of early. This one I had to change because I was like, oh, Florida's going to win this, and then they didn't. And this one, I kind of had that one up early. This one, I waited till the last minute because you just never know when it's the Capitals, right? But second period, early, it's a power play marker for the Dallas Stars. It's Rope Hintz from Guryanov and Radulov. And so you're thinking to yourself, well, if Dallas's power play can be lethal, the thing is that 1-goal difference doesn't last. Patrick Laine scoring his first as a Columbus Blue Jacket from Dome and Texier at 7:49. So that line connects, makes it 3-1. Strong period, too, for both Columbus and for Patrick Laine. His best period as a member of the Columbus Blue Jackets. They then get a power play. They don't score on it. And then late in the period, Jason Dickinson makes it a 1-goal game again from Radulov and Heiskanen at 17:42, a goal that was initially on the app given to Radulov but changed to Dickinson. So yeah, 3-2 lead for Columbus entering the third period. Third period, Ben had a good chance that went wide. And then at 3:42, Atkinson scores from Bjorkstrand and Roslovic. So Roslovic is kind of showing he can produce at a top 6 level. Who knew? Another one of those things. It doesn't really surprise me that much because Roslovic showed, flashes of this in Winnipeg. And it just seemed like if he got the right opportunity. And so far in Columbus, it seems like this is that opportunity. Power play then for the Stars. They don't score on it. However, Jamie Benn continues his strong play since his return. He scores from Pavelski at 11:01, so that's the 15th point for Pavelski in 8 games. But that's it. There's a too many men call then against Dallas. Columbus gets a power play. The Stars would get a power play late, but they don't score on it. So low shot game. This is a Columbus style game. Shots were 12-9 Dallas's favor the first, and then 9-8 in the second in favor of Dallas, and then 8-7 in favor of Columbus in the third. So final shots 28-25, and Dallas got less shots with each period. Final power plays, Dallas 1 for 3, Columbus 0 for 3. Hudobin saves 21 out of 25. Korpisalo saves 25 out of 28. And so a much needed victory for the Columbus Blue Jackets, and they're keeping things interesting. All right, next up. 5-2-1 is the record now for Dallas. 5-4-3 is the record for Columbus. Now, Ottawa in against Montreal. I had to laugh at a comment I read this morning, and I thought, I don't know if you like that. So the comment along the lines of, well, we know Montreal's better than Toronto because Montreal hasn't lost to those losers from Ottawa. I'm paraphrasing, but it was a comment I noticed on the channel this morning, and I thought, you're against Ottawa tonight. Like, your team's against Ottawa tonight. I don't know that you want to be saying this right before that game. I'm wearing Ottawa. So, reverse retro from the Habs looks fantastic. It does. Huge thumbs up. That jersey's beautiful. And seeing that against the Whites for Ottawa, it might have been the most attractive game of the night if you're looking at jersey matchups. Just throwing that out there. Shots were 4-2 for the Habs at 4 minutes. I thought it was a better start for Matt Murray. It was really important that he made some early saves and got his confidence. And he did that early on. And then Gallagher scored from Tatar and Danault at 10:31. And of course, your assumption is, here we go. We saw it against Edmonton. We saw it against Vancouver. Once that first goal goes in, you just open her up, and suddenly it's 4-0 in favor of the team that's facing the Senators. However, the Sens pushed to answer. Tatar had a shot that hit the side of the net. If that goes in, who knows? But it didn't. Close call at the Sens net with 2:15 left. But then Shabbat from Tierney and Stützle at 19:21. And then the Sens get a power play in the last minute. Now, their power play came into tonight 24th in the league, and it's been dropping like a rock. Tonight, it moves up a bit. Stützle on the power play at 19:40 from Batherson and Shabbat. So over a period of 19 seconds, we go from a 1-0 lead for the Habs to a 2-1 lead for the Senators in the last minute of that period. Second period, Murray stopped a good chance for Tatar, and then it's Connor Brown getting on the board. Brandstrom and Stützle with the assists at 8 minutes and 12 seconds. So somewhere Pierre Dorian's like, Brandstrom, Stützle. Good. This is good. So Stützle with a goal and 2 assists right here in a period of 9 minutes of the game? So Stützle doing exactly what we had kind of hoped he might do for Ottawa, and that's make him better. Kulak then had a wraparound that was stopped. Things were kind of scrummy after Shabbat got knocked down late in that period. There's a power play for the Habs, turns into a 5-on-3, extended 5-on-3 as well, and the Senators killed it off. So we go to the third period. Price with a mishandle at around the 6-minute mark behind the net. But they escaped that. And then Perry and Goodbranson tried to fight, but the linesman jumped in before the fight got going, which there were probably a lot of fans going, "Aw." Whether you want to see Perry win the fight, whether you want to see him lose the fight, whether you want to see Goodbranson win or lose the fight, there were probably a lot of people that were sad that fight didn't get to continue. Murray, his best game is a Sen, and I don't know that it's close. Sherratt then takes a 4-minute penalty, and I put ends it? Question mark? Like, okay, so that's it, right? Now, what's interesting is Anderson gets a shorthanded goal from Danault at 18 minutes and 31 seconds. The Senators get a 5-on-3 power play, and they called a timeout. And the announcers for TSN were broken by this. The idea that they have a 5-on-3, they're calling the timeout to make sure they don't blow the 5-on-3 power play. It's just funny when you think of it. And yet, you know, it's Ottawa, and having lost 9 in a row, I don't blame them for, you've got the timeout there for a reason, you might as well use it. So they did hold on despite having a 2-man advantage, and they won it 3-2. They go to 2-8-1. Montreal drops to 7-2-2, and now Habs fans do not have that bragging right of, well, at least we haven't lost Ottawa. Now you have. So the shots were 12-9 Montreal in the first, 8 apiece in the second, and 18-5 Montreal in the third as Matt Murray and Tim Stützle steal this game combined. Final shots 38-22 for Montreal. Power plays, Ottawa goes 1 for 4, Montreal 0 for 4. Matt Murray, 36 saves on 38 shots. Price saved 19 out of 22. They were out goaltended tonight. There you go. And now I have to change boards. I want to say that I'm glad this is happening. And here's why. And I know there's going to be people like, I can't wait for Shannon to freak out. This is going to be great. No. We know the Canucks right now are not good enough. And I said going into this 3-game set with Toronto, I don't want them to win this because they're not good enough. And other than playing against Ottawa, where they won 3 in a row, they're 3-8 on the rest of the season. This team is not good enough. I don't know what has to change, but you're not going to get change if they start to throw together a few wins here and a few wins there. It has to be a massive losing streak, and it has to be ugly. And not only that, I'd rather they do this now than 4 months from now. I'd rather not have this team do pretty well and they're okay and then crap out the last 10 games of the year. I watched the team in 07-08. I still remember. That's why I don't need to look up the year, because I remember. And that year sucked. That was a year that, all right, we're going to get back to the play. Oh, nope, we're done. All right, that's it. It's over. Now, this game starts with the Leafs with the early advantage. Matthews scores from Muzzin and Marner at 2:55. However, Pearson would tie it from Höglander and Pettersson at 6:24. So Pettersson gets on the board, gets his 9th point. That's where the happiness stops. That was a result of a pile at the net. Canucks turnovers. Yep. Edler with a turnover in just that couple of minutes I'm watching there. Dermott was out, 5D for the Leafs. I don't know that he came back. I would imagine that he did. It didn't look that bad. Chances for both teams, power play for the Leafs. And guess what? Jason Spezza, with what was going to be a great night for him, he scores from Riley and Nylander at 10:14. The Leafs get another power play. And then we go to the second. And this is, this year, the worst period for the Canucks. So I put that right there. Canucks' worst period in 2021 is the second period. This is where they go from maybe to, yeah, we're on fire. Matthews scores from Marner at 3:03. Then 23 seconds later, it's Bo Horvat from Miller and Besser. So at 3:26, that made it 3-2. But turnovers. Spezza gets his second goal of the game from Boyd and Patan at 8:44. And yeah, this is one of those games where the Canucks just, the intensity you're looking for to bring yourself out of this rut, it's not there. And Tavares takes advantage as well late in the period from Nylander and Riley at 17:56. That makes it a lot to 2. It's 5-2. Then with a minute and 21 seconds left, the Canucks get a power play, but no. And to start the third, they had no shots in what remained of that power play to start the third. Power play then for the Leafs. They don't score on that. However, Spezza would score from Muzzin and Nylander at 4:34, and that is a hat trick. He is the second oldest player in the NHL to get a hat trick. And so he's your Tyler Toffoli for tonight, is Jason Spezza. Keep in mind, he was on waivers. He did say he'd retire if anybody took him. I'm just saying. Another Leafs power play. They don't score on it. The Canucks then scored on a power play. They got it was JT Miller from Hughes at 8:14. It's just nothing. It doesn't matter. And then Marner adds one from Boyd and Bogosian at 11:37 because why not? That makes it 7-3. The Canucks fall to 6-8. The Leafs at 8-2-1. So for a panic index, I might as well just use the Canucks logo for a panic index and just measure everybody by where the Canucks are at. And it's funny because less than a week ago, the Rangers I would have had close. Nashville I would have had close, but now it's basically Vancouver is the panic index. Shots 12-6 in the first in favor of Toronto, 11-8 Toronto in the second, 14-5 Toronto in the third. Final shots 37-19 for the Leafs. 1 for 2 was the Canucks power play, 1 for 5 was Toronto's. Demko saves 30 out of 37. Anderson saves 16 out of 19. There isn't really anything going right for Vancouver anywhere. The power play went 1 for 2, but this is a team that has major problems. And they are systemic problems, and I don't know how you fix this without a change behind the bench or change in the GM office. I think we're there. I think we're seeing with the Canucks, this is a completely broken team. Allowing that many goals, and I know the North is very offensively minded division, and it is. It's a very run and gun division. It's great to watch the games. But this is unacceptable. And so for Vancouver, I don't know how you fix this, but I don't know that there's going to be a lot of patience for much more of it. And so we're back. Remember a few months ago when everything was kind of fun and they beat out Minnesota and then St. Louis and then Demko pushed Vegas to 7. That was ages ago. I think that was about 6 years ago. I don't care what the calendar says. It feels like it was 6 years ago. All right, next up. Chicago. So I did kind of call this morning. Carolina falls to 6-2. Chicago's now 4-4-4 is their record. We'll see whether or not they can get the record above 500. And yeah, if this team had Taves and Doc, who knows? This has been fun, and Lankinen's giving them competent goaltending. I don't think he had his best game tonight, but the thing is, Carolina's able to score a bunch of goals, so that happens. Aho scores early from Hamilton and Svechnikov at 1:15. So I think 5 of the 6 games on this board that I was tracking, 5 of the first 6 games I was tracking, there were goals in the first few minutes of the game. Power play then by the Hawks, and it was lethal tonight. This Hawks power play is deadly. It's Janmark from Kubalik and Kurashev at 3:17. I'm happy for Janmark. I watched Janmark fighting the puck a lot in Dallas, getting chances, but just fighting the puck. It is nice to see the puck going in the net for him. Power play then for the Canes. The shots were 5-3 for the Hawks with 8.5 minutes left. The Hawks get another power play, and they score on it again. Lethal. Kubalik from Bowden, and Janmark at 14:43. So Janmark with 2 points. And so I think he has 4 goals, 4 assists so far. Not too shabby. Another Hawks power play becomes a 5-on-3. Pesce took a puck to the face and made his exit. Reimer then denied DeBrincat. And then we get a power play goal by Chicago after all that. It is Shaw from Kane and Kubalik at 19:53. Patrick Kane had a big night, and that was the start of it. So it's 3-1 Chicago after 1. Second period, Carolina canceled that fast. First, it's Niederreiter from Slavin at 42 seconds, and then 8 seconds later, who else? Svechnikov from Hamilton at 50 seconds. Interestingly enough, for Hamilton now, I think he has 5 points in 8 games. And yet when I was talking about players off to slow starts, there were comments about how Hamilton's kind of off to a slow start. I think it just shows, that's 6 points now in 8 games. It just shows that the expectation for Hamilton's higher. I don't know that he's going to reach those heights again. I think he peaked last year. There's a power play then for the Canes. The Hawks got a power play as well. That one wasn't able to make it work. So we emerge in the third period in a 3-3 tie. Canes on an early power play. Misfiring power play, and the Canes would not be able to get that going. And special teams were the story tonight. Kane scores from Soderberg at 2:51, and that was Beast Mode Kane. Beast Mode Kane basically has the puck on his stick, and you're not stopping him. You're going to need multiple people to stop him, or I don't know, some kind of a supernatural intervention, because when he goes into beast mode, Kane is one of the best in the league at it. Kane, McDavid, Eichel are the ones that stand out just off the top of my head as guys that when they get into this mindset, good luck getting the puck off his stick. Highmore then had a chance on a turnover, but McGinn would tie it, or no, McGinn would get it closer. Sorry, not tie it. That's the 4th goal of the game. No, that did tie it. What am I talking about? Okay, McGinn from Aho and Pesce at 5:25 does tie the game. Canes then had their chances 8.5 minutes into this, but this is where Lankinen got better. So it was like Lankinen did his best imitation of Grant Fuhr. Like, okay, you got your 4 goals, you're not getting a 5th. And then DeBrincat scores from Suter and Kane at 12:22. DeBrincat is back. DeBrincat is back to being Alex DeBrincat this year. I believe that. Post then for the Canes, and they end up with a power play. Kane was denied by Reimer. Necas then hit the ice hard. It was a clean hit, but he went down, and he hit his head on the ice. And I'm hoping Necas is okay. He looked concussed as he left the ice, like he didn't know where he was. And so a lot of concern by both teams shown as Necas left the ice. Hopefully he's okay. And then Canes would pull the goaltender. DeBrincat hits the empty net. Kane with the assist. I believe that was his 4th point of the night. At 19:47, Chelsea Dagger plays again. And so Chicago wins this one 6-4. Lots of goals in that one. Shots were 13-5 Chicago in the first, then 17-9 Carolina in the second, 13-12 Chicago in the third. It was a really fun game. Final shots 35-34 for Chicago. Carolina goes 0 for 4 on the power play. Chicago goes 3 for 5. Reimer saved 29 out of 34. Lankinen saved 30 out of 34. This is where the conversation about how long Mrazek's going to be out may come in, because Reimer, if he's overplayed, you start to see some ugly lines with Reimer. He needs to be spelled out and stay fresh. He's not really a guy that you're going to be riding for 80% of the starts. So if Carolina does this, might be tough to keep the goals against down. But we'll see. It's just one game. I know it's just one game. Next up, Arizona. This game was far more entertaining than it should have been late. Arizona had a great game until they didn't. So reverse retro Blues, and looking at the reverse retros that were out there tonight, I don't know how many fans are going to say, maybe we shouldn't wear those anymore. I'm waiting for that, though. That conversation will happen at some point. A team has a poor record with reverse retros. People may not want to keep the jersey around. Early chances for the Coyotes. They get a power play. Binnington robbed Garland. And this, again, is a game where Binnington, at the end of the night, his stats don't look great. He had a great game. 8-1 were the shots for the Coyotes 7.5 minutes in. Binnington was making some huge saves until Tyler Pitlick gets one from Kajula and Dvorak at 9:32. Power play then for the Blues. It managed one shot. St. Louis's power play is a problem. It is a massive problem. And probably ends up costing them the game tonight, because it did end up being kind of close. Schmaltz then scored from Garland and Osterley at 17:48. And it was one of the best road periods I've seen Arizona play this year. It was great. Second period, Ronta denied Shen. Much better start for the Blues. And then at 5:18, Garland scores. That's the second point of the game from Demers and Osterley at 5 minutes and 18 seconds. So that made it 3-0. Coyotes got a power play. The Blues then got their turn on a power play. Shen had a chance at an open net that he missed. And the Blues got another power play before the end of the second period. They could not score on the power play. So you go to the third period and it's 3-0. So I'm like, okay, so the Coyotes should be able to bring this one home. And then the only question mark I had was, so is Antti Ranta gonna get the shutout? Another Blues power play. That was their fourth and final in that third period. Ranta, great game. Shen had a chance that fired high, so he had numerous opportunities that just missed. Goalie pull with 5 minutes left. And I thought, 5 minutes left. Come on, you're down by 3. And you're pulling the goalie. Well, yeah, give it a shot. Shot block clinic by the Coyotes until Hoffman. It's over a minute into the goalie being pulled. Hoffman scores from Krug and Shen at 16:45. They pulled the goalie again, and then Arizona gets the empty net goal. Dvorak from Garland at 17:46. So that made it 4-1. And so watching this, you're going, okay, so that's the game then. It's salted away. The empty netter. Not realizing that empty netter was really, really important. O'Reilly would score from Schwartz at 18:49. That's another 6-on-5 goal. And the had to be in the air if you're Arizona at this stage. And then again, with the goalie pulled, Hoffman scores his second goal of the third period from Perron and Krug at 19:35. So Krug with 2 assists, Hoffman with 2 goals, and in a period of less than 3 minutes, they've got 3 goals. All of them scored 6 on 5. I don't know if it's a record, but it should be. I'm going to go ahead and say it's probably a record of goals scored with the goalie pulled. Your game winner becomes that 4th marker, the empty netter by Dvorak. It's weird when it happens, but it does. Shots were 15-9 Arizona in the first, and then it turned. St. Louis outshot them 16-10 in the second, and then 17-5 in the third. Final shots 42-30 in favor of Arizona, or favor of St. Louis. Sorry, Arizona 0 for 2 on the power play. St. Louis 0 for 4. Ronta saved 38 out of 41. Wasn't even in the 3 stars of the game. He went from first star to, and he's not a star anymore. Bennington saved 26 out of 29, and the Blues come up 1 goal short. And again, when that 4-2 went in, I thought, they can't. Arizona can't, but it is Arizona, so maybe they can blow it. So, very entertaining game when it really probably shouldn't have been. All right, last game of the night, Calgary and the Winnipeg Jets. So I talked about the Canucks being in trouble. I would be wrong to not suggest that the Flames are in trouble. And here's the thing. So the Canucks have 6 wins, 3 of them are against Ottawa. The Flames have 4 wins, 2 of them are against the Canucks. So they're 2-5-1 when they're not playing Vancouver. So there's similar problems in Vancouver and Calgary. The good news is they play each other, 10 times? So there you go. Now against Winnipeg, this is the last game in Winnipeg. The next 5 these teams play against each other are all in Calgary. We'll see if that makes a difference. Hellebuck denied Dubé. Reverse retro night for the Jets as well. Power play for the Flames. They then got another. And it was another solid start for Markstrom. And then in the last minute, and these goals can be really important, Mangiapane scores from Valimaki at 19:04. So Mangiapane's heating up, and it's 1-0 Calgary after 1. Good road period for Calgary. And then the rest of the game happens. Second period, Appleton from Lowry and Perreault at 3:31. The Jets get a power play. Markstrom robs Ehlers. Nick Ehlers should have had a goal there. Markstrom just said no. Power play then for the Jets. They don't score on it. Neither power play was effective tonight. However, Kyle Connor, who's off to an amazing start, scores unassisted at 13:59. Scheifele in the last minute, one of those last minute goals from Pionk at 19:09 makes it 3-1 in favor of the Jets. Third period, early chance for Winnipeg. Markstrom stopped a chance for Trevor Lewis, who's been a useful bottom 6 forward for the Jets thus far. Shots were 3-1 Jets at 9 minutes. So this is where the problem for Calgary comes in. That they've been this comeback team in the third. Tonight, that comeback just was not there. They just didn't have the pushback. They weren't getting the opportunities. Winnipeg defended them really well, much like the last game, where they defended them well and ended up with the victory. So those comeback victories, those feel-good moments for Calgary, not happening in Winnipeg the last couple of games. And now they move on and they're playing Edmonton in a series that both teams really desperately need to win. Hellebuck then stopped a chance from Dubé. Wheeler took his second penalty. So one thing that we're starting to watch now in Jets games is how much ice time does Wheeler get and how many opportunities are being allowed when he's on the ice. And they're starting to isolate on Wheeler a lot. We'll see where this goes because this is now a storyline in Winnipeg games, especially after Maurice defended Wheeler, right? So we end up with 4-on-4 play because, that was power play number 4. Anderson hits the post, and then we get the 4-on-4 for 55 seconds. So I knew there was 4-on-4 that happened there. They pulled the goalie with 1 minute and 45 seconds left. Well, when you pull the goalie against the Jets, they're going to score. This is something that my wife points out to me all the time. She'll yell at the TV, pull the goalie, because she knows Winnipeg's going to hit the empty net, and they did. Appleton at 18:38 makes it 4-1 in favor of the Jets. They win. They go to 7-3-1. Calgary drops to 4-5-1. And so Ottawa, Vancouver, Calgary, all below the playoff line. The other 4 teams qualify for the playoffs. Might as well start the playoffs next week, by the way this is going. But anyways, we'll see. Shots were 11-10 Calgary in the first. Very good period. And then the rest of the game, like I said, 11-7 Winnipeg in the second. And the shots at the end of the third were 6 apiece. Final shots 27-24 in favor of the Jets. Calgary 0 for 4 on the power play. Winnipeg 0 for 3. Markstrom saved 23 out of 26. Hellebuck saved 23 out of 24 and showed why he's the defending Vezina winner. So there you go. some fun hockey tonight, some good results. And again, we have a lot of games now that are being postponed. The NHL's trying to figure this out. If they can't, we end up with some sort of a pause. The interesting thing, of course, is we haven't seen that with any of the Canadian teams, and that's something that I'll definitely talk about in tomorrow's News of the Day video. So don't forget to tune in for that. Anyways, thank you guys so much for all your support and for helping this channel pass 178,000 subscribers. It's amazing to watch the growth on the channel. I did delete the poll that I had on the channel earlier about the whole Kyrou thing, because just for fun, I'm like, okay, I'm answering this a bunch in the comment section, but I'll just make a fun little poll and just for fun. And then there were people, I can't believe he's talking like this. All right, so people think I'm serious. I'm never serious. That's not how this works. All right. Thank you guys so much, though, for all your support. I enjoy doing this every night, and I'm glad I'm here to bring you guys the hockey news every day. And, you know, there's always a healthy dose of humility in what I do. And, you know, everything that's going on. And if you follow the Canadian media, too, you know what's going on with Bell. And that'll be talked about tomorrow, too, because that kind of ticked me off. And I'll talk about that tomorrow. So, hey, thanks for all your support. Hit like and subscribe if you have not already. And I'll talk to you guys again soon.